All right, NFC North. Obviously, this one hits a little close to home. We'll start out. Start out with those sons of bitches in Wisconsin, the Green Bay Packers. I'll start out by saying this. I feel like a lot of people are down on them this year, rightfully so. I feel like they had a pretty bad offseason.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, that was kind of a note I had. It's like they kind of have the last couple of years.
Until they completely fall apart, they're winning this division.
Yeah, I mean,
And they're getting a high seed in the NFC playoffs.
As long as Rodgers and LaFleur are here and they have someone around Rodgers to make plays,
somebody with hands.
Yeah, they're probably winning this division.
Yeah.
I mean, well, are they?
I think so. I'll be interested to hear your takes now. Who's winning the division? But I have them winning the division. They got worse, and I still think that they'll win this division.
The biggest note, I think, with the receivers, because let's be totally clear, that's the biggest.
That was the biggest hit.
Question
100%.
Mark. They drafted a guy like
Dobbs,
Christian Watkins or something. No, they signed Sammy Watkins. It's Christian something else. I don't even know his name.
Something like Dobbs or something like that.
But he's a guy who they drafted in like the third round or whatever of the draft, in a bad draft on paper. And Rodgers is pretty prickly and not liking rookie receivers very often.
Yeah.
So right now, your best receiver on your depth chart is probably Allen Lazard.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean,
he's not a bad player.
No schmuck, but
he's no schmuck, but he is average in the league at best, and he's got an elite quarterback.
Yeah, and you lose MVS to Kansas City. You lose Devontae Adams to Las Vegas. That took a huge hit. You still have Big Bob Tonyan, too. You still have Aaron Jones, who, I mean, is a great pass-catching back.
And A.J. Dillon is a nice player, too.
And A.J. Dillon, who is the ground and pound portion of that backfield. So
they did lose to Darius Smith, though.
Yeah,
and that's kind of a big
feel
loss.
Like probably the cornerstone of that defense outside of, is it Jair Alexander?
Jair Alexander, and also, I mean, on their Kenny Clark on the defensive line is also a stud.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a huge loss for them, I feel like. And it's not like it's not like his contract is up. Like, no, they cut him.
Yeah.
And then
he's crazy.
And then he goes to sign with Minnesota, which is just really some salt in the wound. But if anything, I mean, people are down on them because they subtracted and didn't add much. And the thing about them, though, is that's kind of what they've been doing every offseason, that LaFleur and Gutekunst have been running the show in Green Bay.
And they seem to be getting better.
And they seem to just naturally pull out 12 wins, and it's never a problem. Yeah. Part of it, though, has been that they have just been in an absolute dog shit division, the NFC North, for the last 2 years.
So true.
The Lions have been a joke.
Yeah.
The
Minnesota's been super rocky.
They have not lived up to their expectations, and the Bears have been, rocky as well.
Outside of one season, they've honestly been not good.
Well, they snuck into the playoffs a couple of times with Nagy, and they weren't great.
I think they only went one time.
I think they went twice. They went 2 times, because they went to New Orleans and lost, and then they also had the one in Philly.
The double doink. Okay.
Yeah, but the Bears this year, though, I mean, we'll get into them, but they're much worse than they have been in a while.
Oh yeah.
So.
They,
the real race for this thing is between the Lions and the Packers and the Vikings, for real.
Absolutely. That's a great segue into our next team. But before we do that, ceiling for the Packers.
Well, God, I'm just throwing this one out here for a couple teams. Probably 5 or 6 teams at this point. I've said this is their ceiling, but for them, it really is a Super Bowl. They've gotten to the NFC conference game for 2 years straight, 3 years straight. I mean,
they didn't go last year.
Oh yeah, they got bounced. That's right.
Yeah, they got bounced in the first round.
Well, I guess that's their ceiling. I don't think they're going to get there, but
they're not going to get there. Their ceiling is the NFC Championship, and they cannot get over that hump. And they don't want to face any of those teams.
Now, you know what? You're right. I'm with you on that one. The NFC
They're not
Championships
getting
are
over
ceiling.
that
They're not getting
hump.
past it because
No.
they've gotten worse, not better.
Yeah.
They're not gonna pass the roadblock. They can't pass it. They regress.
Yep, absolutely. And then the floor.
Floor would be not winning the division,
Yeah.
but still making the playoffs.
Yeah. Yep, I would agree with that.
So wild card
Mm-hmm.
is their floor.
Yeah, 100%. Unless the wheels completely fall off, which it's not going to happen. Good segue into our next team. Who this is probably a 2-horse race, and I think we might be on the same page here. I think this team is poised to take a little bit of a jump this year.
Yeah, they seem to, especially in the last couple weeks, ever since like OTAs and stuff started.
Them.
Yeah, they really have kind of become the darling of this division out of nowhere.
I wouldn't go that far. That's our
Well,
status.
we're the darling of bad teams.
Yeah, okay.
They're the darling of teams with actual
teams
expectations. Yes,
okay.
And
all right, that's fair.
The main part of it's adding the coach.
Yep, new coach, and
who's apparently super pro Kirk Cousins.
Pass heavy offense, which I for one, I'm like, finally.
Well, the thing about the Vikings is the last couple of years, their defense has been crap, but they've been able to stay in games because of Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen, and Justin Jefferson, and Dalvin Cook. Like they've been able to stay in games because their offense can put up, like a fireworks show to keep them in games. So, but he's from the sacred tree.
Oh,
the Shanahan tree.
Okay, here we go.
So the McVay Shanahan tree.
The floor.
Right. So he's a good looking coach in his 40s who is super pro offense, throwing the football all over the place. And also the sacred tree, they love Kirk Cousins.
Oh yeah, so true. So true.
It's really gonna be good potentially.
Zach Taylor from the tree too?
He might be.
I think he is.
I think you're right about that because I think he had something in Washington.
I thought he had something with LA under McVay.
Maybe you're right. I mean, McVay was in Washington for a minute too.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, that's where it all started, right? But yeah, I think this team is going to be good this year. I don't know what it is, but I mean, this
offense will carry this team.
This offense has been sensational all year round. I don't know if they made any big adjustments to the defense.
No, well, they added Zadarius Smith, which is a nice add.
I don't know. I mean, he got cut by the Packers. Maybe it was salary or something.
I think it probably was. I mean, he's clearly a talented guy. They signed him to a 3-year deal. I mean, they like him.
He's good still.
You got Anthony Barr still. You got Harrison Smith still. I mean, the defense is kind of old. That's really my only negative on them. But like, they're good enough to not lose you games.
It was a pretty big head scratcher when they signed Patrick Peterson last year. I don't know. I don't even know if he's back.
I think they did sign him back, but
it's another old guy.
So if your offense can carry you and be like elite, and your defense is good enough to not lose, then that's a pretty good recipe in the NFC, especially in the NFC North.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Also, Justin Jefferson is a baller. I mean, that dude is really, really good.
I'm willing to go on a statement and say that there's going to be 2 clear-cut 1-2 receivers this year. It's going to be the LSU boys, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Ceiling?
Ceiling for them, I don't think they're a Super Bowl team.
No.
But I think that they are definitely a divisional or conference championship. I'll say divisional is probably their ceiling for me. NFC North victory and a divisional appearance.
I'll say NFC North winners, divisional implosion on
the floor.
Sunday Night Football.
Well, so the floor is that Kirk Cousins continues not to be clutch.
7 wins.
And the defense is way worse than we thought.
Yeah.
And maybe sprinkle in an injury or two. And this
team, that's bound to happen.
And this team could be a 6-win team.
Yeah.
It's like Pittsburgh. They're too good to not. They're not going to be a complete clown show, but they have a new head coach. You never know.
Yeah.
But I think they're on track to be a good team, but their floor would probably be a 6-win season.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Well, the third place team, Chicago Bears. Who knows? They lost Allen Robinson. They lost Khalil Mack.
I know.
They're not looking great. New head coach. Who's their new head coach?
Matt Eberflus?
Which I don't think too many people were high up on him coming into this season.
Where was he from again?
Could not tell you. Could not tell you. I think it was Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
OC, you're right.
So, I mean, that's interesting. But, yeah, man, for the most part, it's not looking great. It's going to be really, really important for Justin Fields to have a good year this year.
I mean, how can he? That's the thing.
Know. That's, yeah.
How can he have a good year when your defense lost all of its playmakers, all of its good playmakers, except for maybe Eddie Jackson still there?
Well, Eddie Jackson, I feel like last year was horrible.
It was, but I mean, he's still one of your best players on defense.
The best player on their defense is Roquan Smith.
Oh, that's true. That's definitely true.
He's still there, but I mean, who knows? I don't feel like you can't really take him out of the game. He's a tackling machine. So, but I mean,
he's not enough by himself.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They let Eddie Goldman go. They traded Khalil Mack. I don't think they have Robert Quinn anymore. This thing is,
the offensive line is decimated. I don't even know. I don't know if they still have Jason Peters there, but you got David Montgomery, who is coming off a really good year. Your number one wide receiver is Darnell Mooney, who is very questionable.
Well, I took I shit on him on the podcast last week a little bit because of the Madden stuff. Upon some further inspection, his numbers were pretty good, especially considering that he was on the Chicago Bears in a Matt Nagy offense. So
that's also with Allen Robinson.
Right. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. So he's wide receiver 1 now.
Yeah,
for sure.
So he's got to fill some shoes.
And N'Keal Harry.
And N'Keal Harry, who I mean, if the Patriots are trading him, it's not a good sign.
Well, that's we don't need to really sugarcoat it. I mean, the Bears are very, very clearly. My big note for this team in my notes is that this is year 1 of the teardown. They're tearing this whole thing down right now. They have a new GM, a new coach. They have a They have a second-year quarterback who is still very young.
Very green.
They're just going to try and, I mean, not tank, but I mean, it's the first year in a teardown. I mean, they're going to be competitive. They're going to try to be competitive, but I'm expecting this team to finish as a bottom 5 team for sure.
I would agree.
And they're going to have high draft picks next year, more cap room, and I think they're going to be taking steps the Lions are taking right now in year 2.
Start building it out from the trenches.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything else to say. Ceiling for this team?
Ceiling is 6 wins, and
wow,
and Justin Fields not regressing.
Wow,
that's their ceiling. They're not. There's no way they can get more than that. No way.
I don't know. They're in the AFC. They're playing third place team. Sorry, NFC. Third place teams. I'll say ceiling. Yeah, 6 wins. Justin Fields isn't as bad as everybody hopes he is. By the way, I also love the fact Justin Fields just got caught in a horrible situation where Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace were trying desperately to save their jobs.
Yep.
So they're like, well, we got this guy. I mean, give us a couple years. We'll see where it goes. Axed after a horrible season.
Let me ask you this. What if the Bears are really, really, really bad?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking like last year's Lions bad, where they're like 0-8, 0-9, like really terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And they decide that they can get some draft picks for Justin Fields.
I don't see why not.
And then you just really restart the whole thing as the number 1 pick the year after, or top 3 pick the year after.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't see why not.
This is tinfoil hat
get
time.
something
but
instead of
like he didn't
You're
like
wasting his career and you're depreciating his value by putting him out there with a shit ass team.
by the time that they're going to be a roster that's capable of being a playoff roster,
He'll probably want to go
he'll want a new
somewhere
deal.
else.
He'll want a new deal, or I mean, the whole thing about the rookie quarterbacks is like get him on a cheap deal while your team is in a spot that you have a
really
stacked
good
roster around him.
Yeah.
And right now the Bears they burned through 1 year of his deal already. They're about to burn through 2, and they're about to be maybe the worst team in the league.
Could be.
Tinfoil hat stuff. But anyways, our last team, our most beloved team, America's team, was my big note. That was my big note, especially after Hard Knocks.
They are 100%.
The Detroit Lions. Put the glass of Kool-Aid down.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. It's everything. All signs are pointing to this team taking another step forward this year. I pray to God that's the case. It would be absolutely horrific if we saw a 4-win season or even a 5-win season. Coming in last in the division again would really suck. I mean, hold on. Did we talk about floors to Bears?
Yeah, worst team in the league is the floor for the Bears, and the ceiling for them is 6 wins. Oh, we did talk about it.
No, we did. We did ceilings. We didn't do the floor.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, I'm really excited to watch them.
Yes.
Right.
Regardless of where they finish, yeah, I am very excited to see what this team does this year in year 2 of the rebuild.
I think I got a pretty freaking realistic record out of them too.
I think I got one too, and I think it's when you hear it, it's like, wow, like really? Like, I mean, my big note on the top of my notes here is that they're gonna double their win total. Maybe even a game more than that. I have them finishing around 7 wins.
Okay.
And so 7 wins.
Yeah.
That's 3 more than last year. And you're gonna take a couple of hopefully big steps with your young players. The year 2 guys are going to develop more, hopefully. Dan Campbell even said in a press conference recently that the year 1 to 2 players are usually the biggest jump as far as improved players in a year.
Yeah.
Hopefully Jeff Okudah has a comeback. Hopefully. Hopefully Aiden Hutchinson is a heavy contributor to that defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully Jameson Williams comes in later in the season and games like Amon-Ra St. Brown did last year.
Yep.
And like blows up into the scene. Hopefully Jared Goff continues to
manage games
like he looked at the end of last year.
Yep.
I'm not expecting him to have a 2017 Rams season where he was really damn good
launching the ball.
Yeah, right. But I'm expecting him to play the level he played at the end of last year. And all your acquisitions and young guys that you're developing, like hopefully they contribute and they're decent. And this team is not at the bottom, but the middle of the pack.
Absolutely.
And then going into next year, that you can have actual expectations. But right now, they're still playing with house money. Even if they do lose a bunch of games this year and they win 5 games, it's still 2 more than that last year.
It's a step in the right direction.
If you see all the stuff that I just talked about, even if they lose games, it's not a total loss season. This is really their last season with this new regime that they can go out there, put that product in the field that's that bad. But I mean, we talked about it last year when they restarted this thing. It was nuclear. They had to blow this whole thing up.
Absolutely.
It was they lost their they had to trade away their best quarterback in franchise history. They had to flush out the worst regime in Lions history possibly.
Cut a shit ton of contracts.
And they had to go in realizing we are the worst team in the league.
Yep.
And like CFL level roster. So
hella undrafted free agent rookies.
And a coach that was pretty rocky for some of last year.
Yep.
But
he was getting his feet in the water too. He coached 6 games and a lot of people were really questioning his coaching, but I would say he turned it around quite a bit.
If they didn't finish last year how they finished, I don't know how we would be talking about this team, but they went 3-3 down the stretch. They beat Arizona, Minnesota. They got Green Bay. They got some quality opponent like W's.
Green Bay with one half of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So I mean that I correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure we were leading at halftime.
We were
against Aaron Rodgers,
and Jordan Love
pretty
was a
damn
guy
impressive.
that they put a first round pick on, and he, in their
He
estimation,
sucked.
was no bum, but he clearly is a bum.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I think this team is going to double their wins, and there's going to be a lot to like going into the following season. We're going to be really drinking the Kool-Aid and really excited.
I'm really nervous about that.
Yeah,
I'm really nervous about this season. But I want to dive into the more key players during our next segment.
Okay.
So why don't we go ahead and give our ceilings and floors for them?
Okay.
And then we'll run through the records.
Ceiling is 7 wins.
You think that's the best?
Yes, because we have to be realistic. I'm so sick of these jabronis on TikTok saying they're going to make the playoffs.
I'll say
you just stop. They're still not a very talented roster. They're on the way, but they are not a playoff caliber roster.
I'll fucking give in a little bit. I'll say 9 wins, but miss the playoffs. Positive record.
Okay. Floor.
I will say, Al, we were 1 possession away from winning, I think, 5 more games last year.
Well, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda, but I think there might be a possibility that we've added enough for us to start winning those games. Who knows? Floor, less than 3 wins.
Oof.
That would be horrible.
Well, you know what? I don't think they're going to do that. I really don't. I think their floor is 4 wins. Because I don't think they're going to be worse than last year. They have more talent. They have an easier schedule. Second year of Dan Campbell. I don't know.
I'll never say never with this team.
That's very true, but it would be remarkable if they were worse than last year.
It would be remarkable, 100%.
So 4 wins is my floor for them.
All right. Time for records. I'll start out coming in 4th place. I had the Chicago Bears going 4-13. In 3rd place, the Detroit Lions, 6-11. In 2nd place, taking a big jump this year, Minnesota Vikings at 11-6.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Finally, I have the Green Bay Packers finishing 12-5. We're not super duper aligned on our final totals. I've got the Bears finishing at 3-14, a little bit worse.
Only 1 game.
I have the Detroit Lions finishing 7-10. So I think they are going to hit their ceiling. That's what I'm feeling right now.
Wow.
I have the Packers in 2nd place.
Wow.
At 10-7. I think this is the year where it finally starts to the
wheels start to fall off.
It starts to give in. You know what I mean? Like you can only not address wide receiver for so long. Yep. You can only cut so many pieces for so long. And Rodgers is 38, 39 years old. You can only be back to back MVPs so many times. So I'm seeing a regression for them, but still a pretty good record for the NFC. So 10-7. And the Minnesota Vikings winning the division at 11-6, 1 game up.
Wow, so we were 1 game off for Detroit and Chicago, and exact records for Minnesota, just swapping places with Green Bay.
Yep.